Ladies and gentlemen, all across the world today, people are watching. They are watching very closely what is happening in Nigeria, a country that should be a beacon of hope, a country filled with amazing, hardworking people, a country with enormous potential. And yet, Nigeria is facing a crisis of leadership, a crisis of justice, and a crisis of human rights. And I am here today to speak out very strongly, very clearly, because silence in the face of injustice is not acceptable. We must tell the truth. We must say it as an island. I am calling very strongly for the immediate release of Nnamdi Kanu. He has been unjustly detained, persecuted, and silenced simply because he stood up for his people. He raised his voice for the Igbo people, and for that, he has been punished. That is not democracy. That is not freedom. That is persecution. The Igbo people are some of the most talented, resilient, and innovative people in Africa. They have built businesses, they have contributed to the economy, they have survived a terrible civil war, and yet, decades later, they are still treated as second-class citizens in their own country. This is wrong, totally wrong. And let me say this, when a government fears the voice of its own citizens, that government has lost its way. When a government locks up leaders instead of listening to them, it is not leading with strength, it is leading with fear. Nigeria must do better. The world is watching. But it is not only about Nnamdi Kanu and the Igbo people. We must also speak about the persecution of Christians in Nigeria. Too many times, churches have been attacked, burned to the ground. Too many families have lost loved ones. Too many innocent men, women, and children have been slaughtered simply for their faith. It is one of the great human rights tragedies of our time, and it is happening right now. Every man and woman should have the right to worship freely, to gather in peace, and to live without fear of being attacked. Religious freedom is not negotiable. It is a God-given right. And when Christians are being murdered and their voices are being ignored, that is not only a Nigerian problem, that is a global problem. To the leaders of Nigeria, I say this, the world is watching you. History is watching you. Release Nnamdi Kanu. Stop the persecution of the Igbo people. Protect Christians across your land. Show the world that you are ready for peace, for justice, for fairness, because a nation that persecutes its own people cannot stand strong. To the international community, I say, do not remain silent. Do not turn your back. Silence only empowers the oppressor. We must speak for those who cannot speak. We must stand for those who are silenced. The people of Nigeria deserve the same freedoms, the same justice, and the same dignity as every other people on earth. I say to the Nigerian youth, you are the future. You are strong, you are smart, and you are the hope of your nation. Do not lose hope. Do not be afraid to stand for justice, because the world is beginning to hear your voices. And I say to the Igbo people, your struggle is seen, your pain is recognized, your contributions to Nigeria, to Africa, and to the world will never be erased. You are not forgotten, and you will never be forgotten. Let this be a turning point. Let this be the time when justice prevails. Let this be the moment when the government listens to the cries of its people. The immediate release of Nnamdi Kanu is the first step toward healing, toward peace, toward unity. Nigeria is too great a country to be torn apart by division, injustice, and persecution. It is time to choose freedom over fear, justice over oppression, and unity over division. So once again, I am calling, as strongly as possible, release Nnamdi Kanu now.
As everyone knows, I have also been deeply engaged in seeking a ceasefire in Gaza. Have to get that done. Have to get it done. Unfortunately, Hamas has repeatedly rejected reasonable offers to make peace. We can't forget October 7th, can we? Now, as if to encourage continued conflict, some of this body is seeking to unilaterally recognize a Palestinian state. The rewards would be too great for Hamas terrorists for their atrocities. This would be a reward for these horrible atrocities, including October 7th, even while they refuse to release the hostages or accept a ceasefire.
Good day, sir. Viewers, if you are watching, click on the like button, drop your comment, and also share this program. Subscribe if you have not done so. Now, there is a rumor that Donald Trump discussed about Biafra in his UK visit. What do you have to say about this?
Yes, a lot of people were surprised about hearing that news, but I think it was reported to be, a secret memo that was actually leaked, and it was reported by some of the online media that Trump actually discussed Biafra issue when the issue of Hamas, Israeli, Palestinian, came up on board, and he made it very clearly to the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer that I'm not not going to support anything that has to do with Israel, aligning with terrorists, Hamas and Palestine, and that he will not support that. And the clearest signal is that, according to what we are hearing from the table of Susie Wills, who is the chief of staff to Donald Trump, that Biafra was also mentioned, and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was also mentioned in that secret gathering which they had. We are here to see a blown up report, a ballooned celebration in that regard. But it came at a shock to the British government that he actually mentioned that he is not going to back anything that has to do with the Palestinians, as both presidents clash over Biafra. See, that's the picture. Well, if you look at it very well, would the people say that Trump was actually right, or Keir Starmer is actually right? And if you look at it deeply, you understand that the British government themselves, has continued to play a double standard over what is happening in the Middle East currently now. And of course, the reported global, agitation or solidarity for the black African nation called Biafra, that is already, gaining global momentum around the world. Yes, these are the things we are talking about. These are the things we believe that it's only high level of diplomacy can actually achieve. A lot of people will be waiting to see Donald Trump come out openly to make a statement in that regard concerning his familiarity with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and of course the understanding that the Biafran agitation has gotten to his table, and also the issue of a petition filed by Igbo military, U.S. veterans, in America, concerning the continuous illegal detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, which was reported has already been put there on the Oval Office. But he doesn't want to run something very completely. We saw Trump taking extreme decisions on recognition of Jerusalem as the sovereign state, as the capital of Israel. We're also seeing him against all odds, against international rejection of what is the stand of Israel in Middle East. We are seeing it on daily basis, But what we must understand very well is that Trump has taken a decision that the Palestinians and Hamas are terrorist organizations who cannot be allowed to stay in the midst of Israeli people. That is a quite different case from people like Biafra. We are talking about 85 million Biafrans all over the world who are seeking for recognition of their sovereign nation. They are not terrorists. Biafrans are not terrorists. They don't have an arm swing of terror groups. They do not have it. And they might be looking at that area that actually these people have a non-violent approach to achieve their aim, and that is what the world is looking at. But unfortunately, United Nations has always looked the other way around. They have not been able to come out openly to be very decisive in conflict resolutions. And that is why he might decide to take an executive order to take a unilateral decision and pronounce that Biafra has become a nation and that the Biafra sovereignty is guaranteed. And he can do that. But now it's been believed, the rumor, that he has already elected. Yes, it can be, it's true. It's a fact. If we continue to feast on it, and if it comes openly, because it will actually send a very deep signal to the Nigerian government and of course the northern hemisphere that will definitely panic, because they know what is on ground. If Nigeria, actually, break, and they have what it takes to sustain themselves. Every region in this country have what it takes to sustain themselves, and that is not the issue. But the issue is this, how can we live together and a certain particular region are being killed by a certain region unprovoked? I think that is the reason why it's being reported that Donald Trump actually clashed with UK Prime Minister over the issue of Biafra. Yes.
Viewers, if you are still watching, click on the like button, drop your comment, and also share it. Are you thinking maybe Donald Trump might have heard about the injustice against Nnamdi Kanu and willing to bring him out of the custody he is.
Yeah, yes, you can see one of the people he appointed into his cabinet, like the one I mentioned earlier on, Susie Willis, was once a consultant to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He's the current chief of staff to Donald Trump, and that woman, I understand what it was actually going on. And secondly, the congressman had discussed this issue of killing of Christians, especially in Nigeria. And when you talk about killing of Christians in Nigeria, you are talking about how Igbos are being killed since 1960 to date, and it has become an embarrassment to the global world. And it is time for the world leaders themselves to look at it very well and actually intervene. And you cannot carry out such intervention if Donald Trump actually want to do that without, alerting the UK government, maybe because of their influence in Nigeria, maybe because they are former colonial masters or thereabout, and this is what we want to do. And if Trump actually insists on carrying out such mission, in Nigeria and allow Biafra as a sovereign nation, the world will celebrate him, the African nation will celebrate him, the global community will celebrate him, because at the end of the day, you would have solved one of the major problems Nigerians are having. And what is that? The unprovoked killing of Christians in Nigeria by the jihadists.
Viewers, if you are still watching, click on the like button, drop your comment, and also share this program. What do you think will be the fate of the Kenya government after Nnamdi Kanu gets freedom from the Nigerian government?
No, the Kenyan government are going to face the consequences of it, and everything will be put at the ICC level. Of course, the ICC will intervene in that regard. I pray that nothing happens to Uhuru Kenyatta, who was the president then when Nnamdi Kanu was poisoned in Kenya. We are having another president there, which is William Ruto. He's the serving president. So, and he has tendered his unreserved apology, to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. But we are looking at the dangerous angle it's going to take at the end of the day, and when Biafra arises as a nation, when Biafra becomes a major force in Africa as a nation, of course, that rationality, will be questioned. That irrationality will be questioned at the end of the day. And when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu gets his freedom, of course, the Kenya government can be taken to ICC for questioning and for them to open up on what actually transpired, why they didn't go through the normal process, and why would they allow a kind of criminality and kidnap take place in their homeland. So in looking at all these things, holistically, I can tell you that, the British government, who are seen to be more overbearing on the issue that has to do with Biafra survivor, who are always look on the other side, who have deep reservations, over disintegration of Nigeria, might be aligning with the reality on ground now to balkanize Nigeria. Especially now we are going to see another female prime minister who is going to emerge and have been saying it very clearly that he is going to fight for the killing of Christians all over the world.
Viewers, if you are still watching, click on the like button, drop your comment, and also share this program. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you have not done so. Are you predicting World War II if anything happens to Kanu in the DSS custody?
No, you see, it's not what you are thinking, because the direction it will come might surprise everybody at the end of the day. We don't know what is already ground. The Igbos in diaspora, the Biafrans, the IPOB in diaspora are not relenting. They are aligning with the reality on ground. And you can see what happened in China, in Japan, a few days ago. The Japanese government has come out to say, they are backing, Israel in any way, in any form, militarily and otherwise. And alliances are beginning to form as a result of the decision taken by Benjamin Netanyahu, to defend, Israel, and to defend Christianity, and to defend a free world. And anybody that rises against the freedom of the world is rising against Biafra, is rising against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, is rising against the definition of humanity and existence. And for this reason, Nnamdi Kanu might trigger, balkanization that would put not only Africa, the world, into something they will not believe it will come from a man who had just waked up from the reality on ground and begin to ask questions. How come our people are being killed on a daily basis and nobody is saying anything about it? And that's what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu stands for. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a man who has come to champion a direction not only for Biafrans but for Africans, and that is why you are seeing on the global stage he is being celebrated. He's been talked about. He's the most talked about freedom fighter in the world currently now.
The most talked about freedom fighter in the world right now. Viewers, if you are watching, click on the like button, drop your comment, and also share this program to others. In conclusion, do you think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will release Kanu during his campaign 2027 to gain votes from?
No, we don't need to wait till his campaign starts. And Nnamdi Kanu should not be used to play the politics of votes. That's an embarrassment to 85 million and the lives of many Biafrans that have gone in that direction. So if he does that, he is trying to put a banner there, that yes, this is what I am, and I belong to this class, and I belong to this agenda, which a lot of people have been suspecting that he is actually what he is.